It's 2027. You're standing in a dealership parking lot, or more realistically, you're on your phone at midnight trying to decide between two cars that are supposed to be the smart choice. On one side, a Toyota hybrid with the e-CVT, the same basic hybrid recipe you've seen in Priuses, Camry hybrids, RAV4 hybrids, Highlander hybrids, cars that taxi fleets run into the ground and still somehow keep going. On the other side, Mazda's new Skyactiv-Z hybrid. New engine, new hybrid strategy, Mazda promising better real-world efficiency without killing the driving feel that made you like Mazda in the first place. And you're thinking the same thing most people think. Toyota's hybrid is proven, but what if Mazda finally built the hybrid that feels like a normal car and still gets crazy MPG? That right there is the hybrid engine war of 2027. Because this isn't just Mazda versus Toyota, it's two completely different engineering philosophies crashing into the same buyer question. What's the smartest drivetrain for the next 10 years? Let's break this down. If you like car explanations that don't talk down to you and don't hide the trade-offs, subscribe, because the next few years are going to be full of hybrid marketing, and the only way to win as a buyer is to understand what's actually happening under the hood. Now, quick clarity before we go further, because most people compare the wrong parts. Skyactiv-Z is an engine family Mazda has publicly discussed for the 2027 timeframe, aimed at meeting tighter emissions rules while improving efficiency. It's part combustion engineering, part emissions strategy, part how do we keep selling normal engines in a world that's trying to regulate them out. Toyota e-CVT is not an engine. It's the hybrid transaxle concept Toyota uses in most of its mainstream hybrids, the power split device that blends engine power and electric motor power without a conventional stepped transmission. So the clean comparison isn't Mazda engine versus Toyota transmission. The real comparison is this: Mazda Skyactiv-Z hybrid system versus Toyota system built around the e-CVT power split transaxle. Two system philosophies, two sets of strengths, two different kinds of long-term risk. And here's what nobody tells you. The winner isn't always the one with the best MPG number on the brochure. The winner is the one that matches how you actually drive and how you actually maintain your car when life gets busy. So, let's start with Toyota, because Toyota is the benchmark everyone's trying to beat. Toyota's e-CVT hybrid system, why it became the king. Toyota's modern hybrid reputation isn't built on one lucky design. It's built on a concept that's mechanically boring in the best way. In most Toyota hybrids, the e-CVT is basically a planetary gear set connected to two motor generators and the engine. No belt, no variable pulleys, no gear shifts banging clutches. Just gears meshing in oil with electric motors controlling how torque flows. From an engineering perspective, this is where it gets interesting. Toyota's e-CVT doesn't try to imitate a normal transmission internally. It just achieves the result, smooth ratio behavior, by controlling motor speed and torque. That's why you see those real-world stories. Prius taxis doing 300,000 miles, Camry hybrids that never seem to need a transmission, RAV4 hybrids that rack up commuter miles with minimal drama. Because the mechanical heart of the system, the gear set and bearings, doesn't live a violent life. The motor's smooth torque, there aren't constant shift events, and Toyota has had decades to tune the software so it doesn't stress itself to death. That's Toyota's advantage in one sentence. Toyota doesn't win hybrids by being cutting edge. Toyota wins by being conservatively correct at massive scale. Now, Mazda. What is Skyactiv-Z really trying to do? Mazda is in a tricky spot. They're not Toyota scale. They don't have unlimited budget to run 5 different powertrain paths at once. And Mazda's brand identity is built on "this feels good to drive," which is a hard thing to protect when emissions rules get tighter and engines get more complicated. Mazda has talked about Skyactiv-Z as a next-generation combustion engine designed to meet upcoming emissions rules, often discussed in the context of Euro 7 and similar regulations, while improving real-world efficiency. Mazda has also said it's coming alongside a new hybrid around 2027. Now, because this is still pre-production, here's the honest truth. The exact specs and architecture can change before it hits your driveway, but the direction is clear. Skyactiv-Z is Mazda saying, we're going to squeeze more usable efficiency out of gasoline combustion and pair it with electrification without turning the car into a numb appliance. That's the whole mission. So, what does that mean mechanically? It usually points to three battlegrounds Mazda is likely targeting. 1. Combustion efficiency across a wider real-world range, not just in a lab test. 2. Emissions control that doesn't destroy drivability. 3. Hybrid integration that feels natural, not rubber bandy. And that's where the war is, because Toyota's hybrid system already dominates one part of the map, city and mixed driving efficiency with proven reliability. Mazda is trying to attack from a different angle, make a hybrid that feels more connected at speed, more predictable under throttle, and still efficient enough that normal people can justify it. Now, let's put them head-to-head in the categories that matter in 2027. First battlefield, efficiency. What kind of efficiency are we talking about? Most people miss this part. Hybrid efficiency is not one thing. There's stop-and-go efficiency, where electric drive and regen braking are huge advantages. There's steady highway efficiency, where aerodynamics, engine thermal efficiency, and gearing dominate. There's real-world efficiency, cold starts, short trips, hills, heat, AC load, traffic waves. Toyota's e-CVT hybrids are monsters in stop-and-go. That's what they were born to do. They recapture braking energy constantly and let the engine shut off or run in efficient zones. Mazda's opportunity is highway and feel-based efficiency. If Skyactiv-Z improves combustion efficiency in the ranges people actually use on the highway, light to medium load, moderate RPM, then Mazda can claw back the traditional hybrid advantage gap where Toyota sometimes feels less special, long, fast highway cruising. Because Toyota's hybrid advantage shrinks on the highway compared to city driving. It's still good, but it's not always night and day versus a well-designed gas powertrain. So, the question for 2027 is this: can Mazda build a hybrid where the engine is so efficient in the cruising zone and the hybrid assist is so well blended that you get strong highway numbers without the hybrid weirdness some people hate? That would be a real win for Mazda buyers. Second battlefield, drivability. This is Mazda's home turf. Let's be honest, some people test drive a Toyota hybrid and hate the way the engine behaves under load. Not because it's slow, because the engine sound and RPM can feel disconnected from speed, especially if you're sensitive to that. Toyota has improved this a lot over the years with software tuning, better insulation, and different calibrations. But the character of an e-CVT hybrid is still an e-CVT hybrid. Mazda's brand is built on throttle mapping, torque delivery, and it responds the way my foot expects. So if Mazda's Skyactiv-Z hybrid uses a more conventional stepped transmission feel, or even just calibrates the hybrid control to mimic that natural rise and fall, Mazda could win a huge emotional battle. And the emotional battle matters because most buyers don't shop like engineers. They shop like humans. If it feels weird, I don't trust it. If it feels normal, I relax. Mazda knows that. So, this is where it gets interesting. Mazda doesn't have to beat Toyota on absolute efficiency to win buyers. Mazda just has to get close enough on MPG while feeling better to drive. That's the path to conquest. Third battlefield, reliability and long-term risk. Toyota's strongest weapon. Now we get to the part that decides who the king remains. Toyota's biggest advantage is not the e-CVT, it's time. Toyota has millions of hybrids on the road, decades of failure pattern data, a parts pipeline built around known issues, independent shops that understand the system, software and thermal strategies refined through boring repetition. Toyota hybrid systems are not perfect, but they're predictable. Mazda's Skyactiv-Z hybrid in 2027 is, by definition, newer. Even if Mazda engineers it brilliantly, the first few years of any new powertrain are where unknowns show up. What fails early in real owners' hands? What parts are sensitive to neglected maintenance? How does it behave in extreme heat? How does it behave in cold starts and short trips? What does the battery cooling system do when it gets clogged with dust and pet hair over 5 years? These aren't design questions, they're ownership reality questions. And Toyota has already lived through most of those lessons.
So, the brutal truth for 2027 buyers is this.
If your number one priority is proven long-term hybrid reliability with minimal surprises, Toyota still has the advantage until Mazda's system has years of real-world data behind it. That doesn't mean Mazda will be unreliable. It means unknown has a price, even when the brand is good. Fourth battlefield, cost. Who can deliver the best system without pricing it into the wrong bracket? Toyota builds hybrids at scale, and scale is a superpower. It lowers cost, stabilizes supply, and makes repairs less scary because parts availability becomes normal. Mazda doesn't have that same scale, so Mazda has to win with smart simplicity, design choices that don't require exotic components, and hybrid integration that doesn't balloon the bill of materials. If Skyactiv-Z requires extremely complex aftertreatment, expensive sensors, or tight manufacturing tolerances that increase cost, Mazda has to make sure the buyer feels the value. Because if the Mazda hybrid ends up priced too close to a Toyota hybrid that's already proven, many buyers will default to Toyota. So Mazda's pricing strategy is part of the engineering war, whether people like that or not. Fifth battlefield, emissions rules. Why 2027 matters. A lot of people talk about 2027 like it's a random year. It's not. Mid to late 2020s emissions regulations are forcing manufacturers to control pollutants more aggressively under more driving conditions, not just under a narrow test cycle. That means more emphasis on cold start emissions, real driving emissions under load changes, particulate control on gasoline engines, especially direct injection, catalyst warm-up strategies, and tighter monitoring and diagnostics. And this is where Mazda's Skyactiv-Z story becomes important. Mazda's goal is likely to keep combustion efficient and clean enough that it doesn't require compromises that ruin the driving experience or destroy real-world fuel economy just to pass tests. Toyota's hybrid strategy naturally helps emissions because hybrids can reduce engine runtime in dirty conditions, control engine load points more precisely, and use the electric motor to cover transient demands while the engine stays in cleaner operating zones. So Toyota's hybrid system is almost tailor-made for modern emissions constraints. Mazda's Skyactiv-Z is Mazda trying to build an engine that plays that game better, and then pairing it with a hybrid to multiply the benefits. So the war isn't just about MPG, it's about who can keep gasoline relevant under regulatory pressure without making cars miserable or fragile. Now let's address the myth that's going to flood the internet when Skyactiv-Z lands. Myth 1, Skyactiv-Z will kill Toyota hybrids. No. Even if Skyactiv-Z is excellent, Toyota hybrids won't suddenly become obsolete. Toyota will keep iterating their engines and hybrid controls too. Toyota's next-generation hybrids will continue improving thermal efficiency, packaging, and drivability. The more realistic outcome is Mazda closes the gap in areas where Toyota already dominates, while Toyota keeps pushing incremental improvements that maintain their lead in reliability and efficiency consistency. Myth 2, Toyota e-CVT is old tech. Also no. Toyota's e-CVT concept is mature, but mature isn't an insult in drivetrain engineering. Mature means known failure modes, known maintenance, known durability, known behavior. And Toyota has been refining motors, inverters, battery management, and software continuously. A 2027 Toyota hybrid system will not be the same as a 2010 Prius system, even if the core concept is similar. Myth 3, the best hybrid is always the one with the highest combined MPG number. That's how people get buyer's remorse. If you do mostly highway, combined MPG is a blunt tool. If you tow, it's a blunt tool. If you care about quietness, it's a blunt tool. Real-world value is how it behaves on your commute, how it behaves in your climate, how it behaves after 5 years of average maintenance. Now let's get practical. If you're a 2027 buyer, what should you actually be watching for when Mazda Skyactiv-Z hybrids start showing up? Here's the short list that separates cool new powertrain from "I'm not beta testing this." Number 1, highway behavior under light hills. Does it hold speed calmly or does it surge and hunt? Number 2, transitions between engine and electric. Does it feel seamless or do you feel mode changes in your back and ears? Number 3, battery thermal management. Where is the battery? How is it cooled? Is it air-cooled or liquid-cooled? How easy is it to keep the intake path clean if it uses cabin air? Heat management is lifespan. Number 4, engine maintenance sensitivity. Is it direct injection only? Dual injection? What's the oil spec? What are the service intervals? Modern efficiency engines can be amazing, but some are less tolerant of neglected oil changes and short trip life. Number 5, early pattern data. Not forum panic. Actual pattern data, repeat complaints, repeat failures, repeat service bulletins. The first 18 to 36 months tell you a lot. And for Toyota hybrids in 2027, your checklist is different. You're not usually asking, will the core concept work? You're asking, has Toyota improved drivability? What's the real-world MPG at 75 miles per hour? What's the battery warranty and how is cooling handled? What new complexity did Toyota add, if any, and does it have any early patterns? Because Toyota's risk is usually not, will it last? It's, what new thing did they change and is it annoying? So who wins the 2027 hybrid engine war? Here's the most honest answer. Toyota's e-CVT hybrid system will likely remain the king of predictable, proven hybrid ownership, especially for buyers who keep cars forever and want the lowest drama. Mazda's Skyactiv-Z hybrid has the potential to win something Toyota has always been weaker at, making the efficient choice feel emotionally satisfying for people who care about driving feel, especially at highway speed. If Mazda nails Skyactiv-Z combustion efficiency and pairs it with a hybrid system that feels natural, Mazda could build the anti-hybrid hybrid, a car that gets hybrid MPG without reminding you it's a hybrid. That's the real war. Not just MPG, not just specs. It's the war between proven predictability and next-generation feel. And if you're shopping in that 2027 window, the smartest move isn't picking a side early. It's waiting for the first wave of real owners to put real miles on Skyactiv-Z, then checking whether Mazda's new system stays clean, stays cool, and stays consistent, because that's what decides whether a drivetrain becomes legendary or becomes great until 80,000 miles. If you want, tell me the exact cars you think this battle will happen in, like a future Mazda CX-5 hybrid versus a RAV4 hybrid, or a Mazda 3 hybrid versus a Corolla hybrid, and I'll break down the likely matchup category by category: highway MPG, city MPG, drivability, complexity, and the specific maintenance habits that will make each one age well.